Utah by Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher of the United Kingdom. Appointed artist extraordinaire by the Governor of Utah in 2003, given honorary life membership in Utah Congress of Parents and Teachers, received an Excellence in the Community Teaching Award from the Daughters of the American Revolution in 2007, was awarded the Gardner Award by the Utah Academy of Science, Arts, and Letters for significant contribution in the humanities to the state of Utah in 2010. That's a lot. 25th year, Utah Festival. Fantastic. A whole city block up in Logan, some of you have seen the Eccles Theater. All of that is arts. And it wouldn't be there without Ballam. Plus, the best economy in Logan. I'm going to let him say how many millions of dollars he's added to the economy. All of you know about the Bluebird and how they have great chocolates. Pam gave me 10 things to remember. Logan's ice cream, fantastic Wurlitzer organ, and many, many other things. And we need to hurry, so let me introduce to you Rotarian Extraordinary, Michael Ballam.
Thank you, Skip. Now I understand why I'm so tired. That was a lovely introduction. It proves that you can fool some of the people some of the time. Yes, I have done command performances at the Vatican and the White House. Unfortunately, after I sang at the White House, the president was impeached. Right after I sang at the Vatican, Pope died. Maybe I should take those off on my list. The first opera I saw as a child, I was in the 4th grade. It was Madame Butterfly. It was not live. Seeing a live opera in the state of Utah in the 50s was not easy. It was on a screen. The English National Opera did it. It had a matinee and an evening. 4th grade. I went by myself. I was so taken by it, and it's about 3 hours. I stuck around for the second viewing. I was so amazed by it. The Utah Festival Opera was founded in 1993 as an experiment. I came home to Utah with the expectation of dying. At least that's what I was told, but I was able to trick the Grim Reaper. I've been able to do that a few times. You have watched me do that before your very eyes. I helped save and restore a magnificent opera house that was built in 1923. What good is an opera house without an opera company? I knew nothing about producing opera. I had sung with 27 opera companies, so at least I knew how not to run an opera company. And I, with the help of many of my friends, decided to do one experimental year. An opera by Mozart, Die Schauspieldirektor, La Bohème by Puccini, Gilbert and Sullivan trial by Joy, and the very first American musical to get international recognition, Naughty Marietta. It was so much work and so much stress. I determined in the middle of the run, would never do it again. I would go back to New York and just say that was a nice experience. And then I made the mistake of standing backstage during La Bohème and seeing 50 children singing Puccini in beautiful Italian. They had gotten to know who Puccini was, and they had been part of something that required 300 people to produce. And I thought, let's try it one more year. And I'm still there. The second year, we were in need of some significant financial help. And I had given a speech in Salt Lake City about the power of the arts in blessing the lives of people. And a fellow by the name of Larry H. Miller was there. He was drugged there by his wife, Gail. And he was quite fascinated with what I had to say, and he called to see if he could talk to me. I certainly said yes. He said, I want to help you. Well, I don't know what in the heck you're doing. He came to Logan, I explained my dream, and Larry began what has become more than $20 million worth of anonymous philanthropy towards the Utah Festival Opera. He had never seen an opera. He was nervous to go. He said, do I have to wear a suit? No, Larry, you don't. You can wear a polo shirt, and I'll even provide it. Say Utah Festival Opera on it. Ballam Butterfly, the perfect opera to be introduced to opera of any age. It's just perfect. I gave him the best seat in the house on row 4-7. Now, I watched him because I attend all 140 plus performances in the summer. I stood in the back and I watched Larry Miller. He didn't move a muscle, and I thought, he's falling asleep. And I got down there, and his shirt was wet from so many tears. And I said, Larry, this is the happy part. And he said, I don't know what they're saying up there. It's in Spanish or something. I said, well, it's in Italian, but the super titles are up there. You can read what's going on. And he said, oh, I don't want to take my eyes off the stage. Where'd that soprano come from? I told him, San Francisco Opera. He said, you know, every time she hits a high note, it's a three-pointer. And then he asked where the oboe came from. I said, the Philadelphia Orchestra. What about that trumpet? New York Phil. How many people does it take to put this on? I said, over 300. They're all at the top of the game, aren't they? Yes. Every kid in the state of Utah needs to see this, and I'll help you do that. And $20 million later, he has done just that. Extraordinary man. Madame Butterfly was written in 1910. Puccini had gone to London to see his Tosca performed there, and there was a play by David Belasco, an American playwright, called Madame Butterfly. He was quite taken by it. The role of Cho-Cho-San was played by Sarah Bernhardt, one of the greatest actresses of history, and he went home and wrote very quickly an opera that premiered at La Scala. It has become one of the 3 most beloved operas. You want to know what all 3 of them are? They're easy to remember. ABC, Aida, Butterfly, Carmen. The most important moment for me is when Cho-Cho-San, she has been deserted by an American soldier who came to Japan during the First World War. And he marries her. Actually, he sort of purchases her as a geisha. She has his child, but he goes back to America. He's been gone for a few years. But she is convinced he will return. One fine day, he will return, and life will be happy as could be. We have a very special soprano, Kristen Vogel, who sang with us a number of years ago. As a young soprano, just beginning her career, she has now grown to be an extraordinary international voice. And she's going to sing that aria for you, Un bel dì, One Fine Day.
Senti io senza la risposta me ne sarò nascosta un po' per cielo e un po' per nomi che mi dava al suo venire tutto questo avverrà te lo prometto
All that beautiful sound coming out of a cheap little thing like Kristen. Let me tell you a little bit about Kristen. She comes from Edmonds, Washington. She has performed with Tacoma Opera, Des Moines Metro Opera, and the Natchez Opera Festival. Puccini was sued a year after Butterfly premiered in La Scala by a family who said, "You told the story of our family, an American soldier marrying, purchasing a wife in Japan, having a child with that girl, and leaving her forever." Puccini's defense was he brought 10 other families who said, "It's our story too." And according to statistics, 60,000 similar stories took place during the First World War, and each successive war has been a higher number. Butterfly is an extremely poignant and very appropriate for our times. At the keyboard is Stephen Carey. He's our supervising coach and chorus master for the season. He's from Fort Worth, Texas. He's been with us for 11 seasons. He works with Fort Worth Opera, Opera Memphis, and Chicago Opera. So he is our orchestra today, Stephen Carey. You just heard the high point of European opera, Madame Butterfly. In English opera is more well known in terms of Gilbert and Sullivan, names you've probably heard before. Logan has a long history of Gilbert and Sullivan productions. In fact, 3 of Gilbert and Sullivan's operas premiered in Logan, Utah before they premiered in New York City, the reason being that the man who built the theater that you will come to see this summer loved Gilbert and Sullivan, and every year went to the Savoy in London and bought pirated editions of the music, brought them back to Logan and performed them. Now that sounds like a terrible thing. All versions of Gilbert and Sullivan are pirated because Gilbert and Sullivan were so prolific and writing so fast they never had time to publish their own works. So gratefully there were people in the audience who wrote down what they heard. Probably the most beloved is the Pirates and Penzance. And here to sing the modern Major General, and you might have seen Ted Schmidt. He's prepared to give the number 2, but we're going to use Curtis Bowles. He also plays Professor Harold Hill in The Music Man. He's from New York City. This is his 3rd season with us. He's performed with the New York City Opera, Utah Opera, Kentucky Opera, and Atlanta Opera. He's going to sing one of the patter songs that made Gilbert and Sullivan famous, and he's going to help you learn to sing along with you. You all have the text. I put them on each one of your seats. So you're going to sing along with him. The very model of a modern Major General.
Very good. So let's all grab our little sheets of paper here. And let's try. Let's just repeat after me before we start, right? I am the very model of a modern Major General.
I am the very model of modern Major General.
I have information, vegetable, animal, and mineral.
I have information, vegetable, animal, and mineral.
I know the kings of England, and I quote the fights historical.
I know the kings of England and I quote the fights historical.
From Marathon to Waterloo in order category.
From Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical.
And that's as far as we'll go. You guys can sing along with that if you want to. Keep going if you want to. If not, sit back and enjoy the Major General song from the Pirates of Penzance. I am the very model of a modern Major General. I have information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England, and I quote the fights historical. From Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical. I'm very well acquainted with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical. About my binomial theorem, I'm teeming with a lot of news. Oh dear me, a rhyme for lot of news. Ha! I've got it! With many triple facts about the square of the hypotenuse. I'm very good at integral and differential calculus. I know the scientific names of beans and amalgamous. In short, and as vegetable, animal, and mineral, I am the very model of a modern Major General. Oh, I know a mythic history, King Arthur's and Sicarius. I answer hard acrostics, I'm a presentational paradox. I quoted elegiacs for the crimes of Euryalus. In comics, I deplore peculiarities, but ravenous. I can tell it down to rock whales from pterodons and dolphins. I know the Greek chorus from the frogs of Aristophanes. That I can hum a fugue which I've heard the music's dinner for. Oh, dinner for, right, dinner for. Let's see, Mikado, Patience, H and S pinafore. Ah! And no missile on the air from that infernal nonsense pinafore. Then I can write a washing bill in metal cuneiform and give you every detail of correct this is uniform. In short, it matters vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am the very model of a modern Major General. In fact, when I know what is meant by mamelon and raveling, when I can tell at sight a Mauser rifle from a javelin, with such affairs as sorties and surprises I'm more wary at, and when I know precisely what is meant by commissariat, I have no idea. When I have learned what progress has been made in modern gunnery, when I know more of tactics than a novice in a nunnery, in short, when I'm a smattering of elemental strategy. Oh, fine, let's see. Strategy. You say that a Major General has never strategy on a horse. For my military knowledge, for my body and adventure, he has only been brought down to the beginning of a century. But still in that is vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am the very model of a modern Major General. I can tell it's like a mouse rifle from the champion. Such a mess of sorties and surprises I'm aware of when I know precisely what to bet my commissariat. When I have learned the progress in the daily modern gallery, when I know both tactics and a novice in anatomy, in short, when I'm a smattering of influence and strategy, you'll say that the Major General has never rode a horse. For my military hobbies, so I'm lucky and adventure, he has only been brought down to the beginning of a century, but still in that is vegetable, I am the mineral, I am the very model of the Major General.
Kurt has become an expert at Gilbert and Sullivan, and if I'm not mistaken, your first opportunity to sing Coco
Yes.
happened in Logan, Utah.
I have to take a moment and just say, for Michael Ballam, in 2000, he gave me the role of Coco in Mikado, and it led to 26 productions worldwide. So,
And rightly so.
thank you.
Now that you all have the words in front of you, we have an offer of a free ticket to Pirates of Penzance, if by next week you can come and do from memory, standing here, the song you just heard. Now in America, we haven't had so many grand operas. We've learned how to perform them better than any nation in the world. But when Mozart was writing Don Giovanni, we were determining whether a man should be represented with his taxation, fighting the British. When Verdi was writing Aida, we were fighting among ourselves to decide if a man should be free based upon the color of his skin. When Puccini wrote Butterfly, we were in the First World War, and by the end of his writing with Turandot, we were in the Second World War. We've been busy keeping the world safe so that opera could be performed. But in America, we have our own unique art form, which is called musical theater. And probably the most homespun Americana of them all was written in 1957 by a fellow by the name of Meredith Woodson. He worked on it for 8 years, and when he felt it was ready to be performed in front of the public, he took it to Frank Lesser, who wrote Guys and Dolls. Frank was the smartest man on the block. Frank played through it, and then he said to Meredith, "This is absolutely the worst thing I have ever heard in my life. Throw it away, Meredith. This doesn't sound like you at all. You're trying to copy people. You're trying to sound like Richard Rodgers here and Cole Porter there and Lerner and Lowe here. It can't be fixed. Throw it away," which Meredith did. And then he said, "Well, I don't know where to begin. I have no story. I don't know what to do." And Frank Lesser said, "Just tell us the story of your dad selling band instruments in Ames, Iowa. That you know something about." And in a matter of months, this iconic musical, The Music Man, was written. I have a young lady I've known all of her life because I'm married to her mother. Her name is Vanessa, and I think you all know her as well. She's going to sing Marion the Librarian's wonderful piece.
Sweet dreams to carry close to me. I wish they may, and I wish they might. Now good night, my someone, good night. True love can be whispered from heart to heart. Lovers are parted, they say, but I must depend on a wish and a star, as long as my heart doesn't know who you are. Sweet dreams, yours, dear, if dreams there be. Sweet dreams to carry close to me. I wish they may, and I wish they might. Now good night, my someone, good night. Good night. Good
It's just a good thing she takes after her mother. That's all I can say. When Vanessa was in the second grade, I spent usually 10 months of the year on the road. My children didn't get to know me very well, and the only time they saw me was in the performance where I had flowers, hopefully thrown at me, and applause, and then a wonderful party afterwards. And I was worried that they would think I was abandoning them for these fun parties. So I began to take each one of them with me for 5 weeks at a time. So they saw me work. They came to all the rehearsals, and they could actually see that Dad had a job, a hard job. I took Vanessa in the second grade to the Kentucky Opera where I was doing the Mikado. And the second day of rehearsals, she said to me, "Dad, you made a mistake today." I did. And she quoted a line which she had memorized just by watching us, and sure enough, I had made a mistake. So I sent her home immediately. She has followed me ever since, and she has improved upon the original. In 1977, Richard Rodgers, the most well-known composer of musical theater history, got together with Sheldon Harnick. Sheldon Harnick wrote Fiddler on the Roof. So imagine, you've got the composer of The Sound of Music and Fiddler on the Roof. And they determined to work together to write a musical about the most notorious monarch of history, Henry VIII, whom you see there on the screen. And no, I will not grow that beard back ever again. But at least now I can. It was not a huge success because it was, think of the year, 1976. We were celebrating 200 years of the separation of the tyrannical English monarchs, and here's a musical about the worst one of them all. So it sat in storage. Richard said, "Let's pull it, we'll rework it, we'll open it again," but it languished in trunks. I became well acquainted with Sheldon Harnick, and I said, "Let's get it out of the trunk and let's put it on again." So 40 years later, we have a new arrangement with Sheldon Harnick working on it. He will be in Logan this summer. He just turned 93. He has more energy than I do. In fact, last time he came to Logan and we had a break between rehearsals, I said, "Sheldon, do you want me to take you back to the hotel?" And he said, "No, I understand you have a municipal pool. I could do some laps." But then he was only 91. So he will be here with us. The story of Henry VIII, is there a more fascinating story? The man could have probably used a marriage counselor, but he didn't. I will play Henry. It's typecasting. And I have a number of wives that appear. You've already met one of them, because Kristen, who sang Butterfly, will play Anne Boleyn. My first wife, Catherine of Aragon, Queen of Spain, is played by Holly Sorensen from Salt Lake City. She's going to come up and sing a piece after she knows that Henry, go ahead and come up, Holly. She knows that Henry is going to divest himself of her, and she's not willing to go.
Do you remember the morning we were wed? Picture yourself in the chapel once again. Do you recall that miraculous day I took a vow to love and obey? Nothing has changed since then. As once I loved you, I love you now. As once I needed you, I need you now. A world of pain was to share, and it waits to be shared once more. As once you trusted me, believe me now. I could not leave you, I don't know how. As once our days began and ended, once I ran to, I need you now. Don't bid me say goodbye to you. I won't know, and I'll wait to be shared once more. As once I love you now. As once I ran to, I need you now. Don't make me say goodbye to you. I won't go. As once I love you, I love you now.
Well, he was sung with the Utah Opera, St. Petersburg Opera, and sung at Carnegie Hall. I heard her last year with Craig Jessup's chorus and orchestra doing the St. Matthew Passion. I was completely stunned. She moved me to the point of tears, which I had for the next hour, thinking about that beautiful voice. Is that not one of the most luscious, velvety voices you've ever heard? And I understand she inherited it from the lady who is sitting to her left, her mother. Would you mind standing up so we can see where that voice came from? We at the Utah Festival Opera are very committed to educational programs. This year, the Utah High School Musical Theater Awards took place in the wonderful new George S. and Dolores Story Eccles Theater on Main Street. It was the culmination of our sending professional judges out to every high school who has done a musical and wishes to compete, bringing them all together and creating a Tony Award or an Academy Award where they're all recognized and celebrated. Last year, over 2,000 students were involved in that. Over 350 shows, performers were honored that night from 27 productions throughout the state. And 2 in the past few years of our winners have gone to the national competition and have been winners. Why? Because Utah does more musical theater per capita than any state in the union. And it's time we started recognizing them. We recognize athletic prowess very well in the state. We also recognize academic skill in the state, but I don't think we're too good at recognizing creative activity. So for the past 7 years, we have done it with the Utah High School Musical Theater Awards and continue to do it for the next 100 years, my hope is. We started a program called Opera by Children, where we send in mentors to the classroom, preschool, grade school, middle school, and we've done some high school, where the children create their own operas. They write the words, they come up with the melodies, they design the sets and costumes, they direct themselves, they cast themselves. It's glorious. In the past 17 years that we've done that, 85,000 children have had hands-on, one-on-one mentorship through our program. And we have another program called our Conservatory. And well, actually, we have 2 more programs. We have our academy that happens in the summer. We had 170 students, most of them adults, during the summer. We offered 30 classes. And our conservatory, which happens during the school year after school hours, has been going for quite some time. We taught last year 170 students. We offered 30 classes there, and we put on productions. The most wonderful part about our academy, our conservatory, is that we get a chance to watch young talent be developed. We're doing a musical this summer, which is a delight for children of all ages. It's called Seussical, based on the works of Dr. Seuss, who, by the way, turned 100 this year. We invited him to come, but it's a very long distance from heaven. It is a story based upon Horton the elephant's Horton hatches an egg, and Horton hears a who. Our Horton today became ill. He awakened with a head cold. And as you might think, a head cold for an elephant is a very serious issue. But our JoJo, who is Chloe Allen, is going to sing a duet without Horton, but I'm sure you will be delighted. The musical Seussical, the main premise is that we all can make a difference. No matter how small our voice is, we can change the world. Chloe?
I'm alone in the universe, so alone in the universe. My own planets and stars are glowing. No one notices anything, not one person is listening. They don't have any way of knowing. I have wings, yes, I can fly around the moon and far beyond the sky. And someday soon you will hear my plea. One small voice in the universe, one true friend in the universe. Please believe in me. Yes, I have wings. Yes, I can fly around the moon and far beyond the sky. You called my name and you set me free. One small voice in the universe, one true friend in the universe. Who believes in me?
We believe in you, Chloe. You are the future. This is a perfect musical to bring your children, your grandchildren, your neighbor's grandchildren. Come to Logan, it's easy to find. You drive north on 15 to Maddox, turn right until you get to the Bluebird Cafe, where you can buy some wonderful chocolates, of which we brought some here today for all of you to enjoy. You can come in the early morning and go to Bear Lake, take the children to Bear Lake, and then come and hear a matinee of Seussical and any one of the other 5, because we run in repertory. You can come to Logan for 3 days and see all 6 of our works. The last work, I was up last night too. I'm discovering I'm waking up in the night more than I used to. Thank goodness for church, or I'd never get a reasonable night's sleep. That was a joke. That was a joke. I overlooked something extraordinarily important. Olivia Yokers, would you come up and sing the fireworks number? We should be performing this on the 4th of July. Mabel and the Pirates of Penzance singing Poor Wandering One. And you may join in at any moment with her, especially when it gets high.
Poor wandering one, on a shorely street, take off the grace, nice and sweet trust. Poor wandering one. Poor wandering one, if such a one as mine can help me find 12 years from now, why take it is done. Take care in the heart, take mine.
Olivia has performed with Virginia Opera, Ashland Opera, and was a student at Indiana University, my alma mater. Now I've decided the modern page general has an awful lot of words. That's kind of hard to learn for you, so I'll make it easier for you. The piece she just sang has very few words, so we will give you a ticket as well if you come back next week and sing that, especially you gentlemen. What I was doing in the last couple of nights. Oh, by the way, you can purchase tickets today, right out there. You can purchase tickets even if you're not sure what day. We exchange dates, so you could buy tickets as gifts to people and modify the dates at a later point in time. I discovered last night that in the past 25 years, the Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater have created 5,681 jobs for people. We have produced 187 productions. We've produced, with the help of Craig Jessup, 10 magnificent choral works with orchestra. The influence on the economy, as I figure it, based upon 3 economic impact reports that were done in our history, is that we have made just over $250 million for the city of Logan. That, as you might guess, is not the reason we do it. We try to change people's lives. Our mission statement is elevating people to ennobling artistic experiences. All of the works that we do should cause you, if not force you, to leave the theater a better person than when you came in. The last work we want to demonstrate for you is a work that was originally written in 1887 by Victor Hugo, Le Jongleur de Notre-Dame, The Hunchback of Notre-Dame. It's music by Alan Menken. You saw the motion picture, I suspect. This is the music from the motion picture, but enlarged. It has been done by a number of musical theater companies. We will be the first opera company to be given the right to do it, and we will do it with the seriousness that it deserves. We'd like to conclude with Ezekiel Andrew coming forward. He is our Quasimodo. He is from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He's been with us for 2 seasons. He's been at the University of Cincinnati College of Music and University of Southern Mississippi and Mississippi Opera. We are so grateful for the support you have given us over the years. As I look around here, much of the philanthropy that has enabled us to operate over the 25 years is in this room. This is your company. You have made it possible over all the years, and God bless you. I love you so much. The best thing that I ever did was join this club. The Hunchback of Notre Dame with Ezekiel Andrew.
My sanctuary. Safe behind these windows and these mountains of stone, gazing at the people down below me. All my life I watched them as I hide alone, hungry for the histories they show me. All my life I memorize their faces, knowing them as they will never know me. All my life I wonder how it feels to isolate, not one of them, but part of them, and out there living in the sun. Give me one day out there, all I ask is one, oh forever, out where they all live on. Where what I give, what I can, just to live one day out there. Out there among the bullies and the beavers and their wives, through the roofs and gables I can see them. Every day they shout and scold and go about their lives. Even so, the gift is to be them. If I were in their skin, I treasure every instant out there, strolling by the sand. Takes the morning out there like ordinary men who freely walk about there. Just one day and then I swear I'll be content with my share. Won't raise it, won't despair, oh, and I won't care. I'll have spent one day of the
Well, thank you once again, Michael, and your wonderful